Hi everyone, it's Marissa from the blog BumblebeeApothecary.com. Welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to do the first video in a new series that I am starting called the GAPS Diet for Dummies. This video is going to be part 1 called Disease Begins in the Gut. Before we jump into the actual topic and what I'm going to talk about today, I wanted to thank my viewers for all of the great video suggestions. There's been a lot of interest in the GAPS diet. With my other videos that I'm certainly going to continue doing about the DIY organic skincare and just videos in general on living a sustainable handcrafted lifestyle, I'm going to be sprinkling in a few GAPS diet videos here and there to talk about some various aspects of that. Very beginning, I wanted to just start off by saying that all of the information that I'm going to be talking about here is Dr. Natasha Campbell-McBride's. It comes from the research and studies and experience that she has done, and I definitely recommend getting her book and reading it. I'm going to link a link to where you can find it on Amazon below. But I wanted to talk about some of the things in this book just from my personal experience with the GAPS diet and how, from the perspective of how it has helped me, some different useful tips that I have discovered and come across that I wanted to share with you guys to hopefully help you on your journey as you're thinking about doing the GAPS diet or actively doing it, just to help in any way that I can. So thank you to my viewers for the great ideas on video suggestions. And one viewer in particular who had this idea of doing a series, something along the lines of GAPS Diet for Dummies, just something that was going to be kind of like an easy to encompass but still very useful way to look at the GAPS diet and to help people get started with it and to not feel overwhelmed. So I hope that you find this really helpful and interesting. I'm really passionate about the GAPS diet and how it can help people just because of how it has helped me and my family members. So I'm really excited to share this stuff with you. So let's jump in and start talking about the first video in this new series. So first of all, let's talk about who GAPS diet people or patients are. So Dr. Campbell-McBride has entitled her book Gut and Psychology Syndrome, and you can see that the GAPS acronym stands for GAPS. So that's one of the ways that it comes from. The other aspect of this is that the people with these different symptoms, the neurological, learning disability, the brain things, always have digestive system issues at the same time. Oftentimes these people also overlap into more physical problems like eczema, allergies, asthma, and things like that. So if you can imagine kind of a Venn diagram with different circles overlapping, the common thread for all of these people struggling with these different things, whether it's autism, ADHD, dyslexia, or if they have eczema and allergies, the overlapping thing that always is common with all these people is gut problems. So let's kind of talk about a timeline of GAPS people and kind of what usually happens and how these things kind of unfold. Or if another way to look at it is, how do GAPS people come to be? How do you become a GAPS person? And we're going to go into more of the details, way more in depth a little bit later in future videos, but this is just kind of a brief overview. And there are definitely things and factors that come into play during preconception, pregnancy, and birth, but we're going to talk about kind of more of an experiential view of kind of what happens in a family when there's a child that starts developing some of these issues. So usually what happens is the baby will have eczema, sometimes, or quite often actually, severe eczema when they're still nursing or formula fed. As time goes on and they start to have solid foods introduced, oftentimes the eczema gets worse and some other symptoms start to crop up like food allergies and sensitivities and just bad reactions to food. This is oftentimes when the digestive symptoms will really start to become more noticeable. Bloating and constipation are really common with these kids. As time goes on and they get a little bit older, like usually around the age of 2, the picky eating really starts to set in. Oftentimes what these kids will do is they'll limit their diet to just starchy foods, sometimes just starchy foods and sweet foods, sometimes not the sweet foods so much, but they almost always don't want to have anything to do with meat or vegetables or eggs and things like that. They just want the starchy things, bananas, crackers, chips, cereal. Then as time goes on, as the child reaches school age, starts school or starts getting close to it, you start to see more of the autistic behaviors, or even just the lack of social behaviors that should be there in a typically developing child. Sometimes there will be odd behaviors when they try to cope with stress or different stimuli, and just things that are just not normal in children. As they get a little bit older and start progressing through school, you'll see more of the learning disabilities. Dyslexia might be what comes out. It might be more autism in some people. Different people, their bodies go different routes and they end up having certain problems, whereas other people have other ones. Sometimes it's not any of the learning things at all, and it's the physical things that get worse. The allergies and eczema gets worse. Usually throughout this time, the digestive symptoms do not get better, but they stay the same or keep on getting worse. Some people will tend towards diarrhea, and that'll be what they'll struggle with. Some people will tend towards constipation, and that's what they'll always have problems with. Usually there's always bloating and gas and just uncomfortable symptoms with that too. So that's kind of an overview of what the early years of baby and childhood looks like with people who are GAPS people. And next time in our next video, which will be part 2 in this series, we're going to look at why this is, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some important aspects of the human gut and learn what exactly is going on to cause these different issues. And the exciting part is we're going to start to learn about what we can do to fix these things and heal the gut so that these other symptoms and behaviors and issues can be healed. Also, be sure to head down into the video description box below, where you can find a link to download this free printable kitchen checklist to get your kitchen ready for starting to do the GAPS diet. It includes a full, complete list of all the equipment that you'll want to have on hand and all of the foods that you'll want to have ready to go, so it makes that process really easy to do. Alright, I hope that you found this interesting and helpful. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what your experiences have been. I always love hearing from you guys, and I try to respond to all my comments. And as always, keep the good ideas for new videos coming. I like to hear what you guys want to see more of. If you like this video and found it helpful, give it a thumbs up. Share it with anybody that you think might find it interesting or helpful. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. I make new videos every week on living a sustainable handcrafted lifestyle. And if you'd like to keep track of when new videos come out, specifically in this series, or new videos in general, you can hit the bell to get the notifications every time I upload a new video. As always, thanks so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye.